and the time-traveling clock, Jamie woke up with a start, feeling confused. The room was pitch black, but his clock said 700 a.m. That couldn't be right. The sun should be up by now. "Mom?" he called, stumbling out of bed. "Something's wrong with my clock." His mother appeared in the doorway, looking amused. "Nothing's wrong, Jamie. It's December, remember? The sun rises later in winter." "But last month it was bright when I got up for school," Jamie protested. "That's because time seems to change throughout the year," his mother explained. "The sun rises and sets at different times depending on the season. That's why we have more daylight in summer and less in winter, Pa." Jamie frowned. Time was confusing. Just last weekend they turned the clocks back an hour for daylight saving time, and his grandmother in Australia was always talking about being day ahead when they video called. "I wish I could understand how time really works." Jamie sighed, getting dressed in the semi-darkness. Later that day, Jamie visited his great-grandfather, who repaired antique clocks in his small workshop behind his house. The cozy room was filled with ticking timepieces of all shapes and sizes. Grandfather clocks, cuckoo clocks, pocket watches, and mysterious devices with multiple dials and hands. "Great Grandpa, how does time work?" Jamie asked, watching his great-grandfather delicately adjusting the balance wheel of an old pocket watch. The old man's eyes twinkled. "That's a big question, young man. Are you asking about how we measure time, or about time itself?" "Both, I guess," Jamie replied. "Mom says the sun rises at different times depending on the season. And I don't understand why. And how come Grandma in Australia is always in tomorrow when we talk to her?" "Great." Grandpa chuckled and set down his tools. "I think you need to see something special. Wait here." He disappeared into a back room and returned with an unusual-looking clock. It was made of brass and copper, with a large face showing not just hours and minutes, but phases of the moon, the position of the sun, and what looked like a tiny model of the Earth and Sun. "This is an astronomical clock I've been working on for years." "Great," Grandpa explained. "Doesn't just tell the time of day. It shows how the Earth moves around the sun, creating our experience of time." Jamie examined the intricate device with fascination. "It's beautiful. How does it work?" "Let me show you." Great Grandpa carefully wound a key in the back of the clock. The mechanism whirred to life, and the small Earth began to rotate slowly on its axis while simultaneously moving in a circle around the sun. "This is how our planet moves," Great Grandpa explained. "The Earth spins like a top. One complete rotation takes about 24 hours, which is why we have days and nights, because part of the Earth faces the sun and part faces away." Jamie asked. "Exactly right. One side gets sunlight and experiences day, while the other side is in shadow and experiences night. As the Earth rotates, different parts move from day to night and back again." Great Grandpa pointed to the circular path the Earth model was taking around the sun. While the Earth is spinning, it's also traveling around the sun. One complete journey takes a year, about 365 days. Jamie watched, mesmerized by the moving parts. "But why do the days get shorter in winter?" That's because of something else. The Earth's tilt. Great Grandpa showed how the model Earth was tilted on its axis, not straight up and down. Our planet doesn't stand straight up as it orbits. It leans at an angle. This tilt is what gives us our seasons. He guided Jamie's attention to how the tilt affected which parts of Earth received more direct sunlight as it orbited the sun. During summer in the northern hemisphere, where we live, our part of the Earth is tilted toward the sun, so we get more direct sunlight and longer days. During winter, we're tilted away from the sun, so we get less direct sunlight and shorter days. And in Australia, it's the opposite. Jamie asked. That's right. When it's winter here, it's summer there. When we're tilted away from the sun, they're tilted toward it. But Jamie was beginning to understand. So night and day happen because the earth spins, and seasons happen because the earth is tilted while it goes around the sun. You've got it. Great, Grandpa beamed. Now, about your grandmother being in tomorrow. That's because we've divided the earth into time zones to make timekeeping practical. He pulled an old globe from a shelf and pointed to lines running from north to south. These are time zone boundaries. Since the earth rotates from west to east, the sun appears to move from east to west across the sky. When it's sunrise in Australia, it's still the previous day for us because the sun hasn't reached us yet. So time isn't the same everywhere on Earth? Jamie asked, surprised. The actual passing of time is the same. Great-grandpa explained. But the time on our clocks is different depending on where we are. We've created time zones so that noon is roughly when the sun is highest in the sky, no matter where you are. Jamie thought about this for a moment. But how do we know exactly how long a second or a minute is? Who decided that? Great-grandpa smiled. That's changed throughout history. Ancient civilizations used sundials, water clocks, and hourglasses. They based their time measurements on natural phenomena, the movement of the sun, the phases of the moon, the changing seasons. He picked up a pendulum clock from his workbench. Later, people like Galileo discovered that pendulums swing with very regular timing. Each swing takes the same amount of time, so they became a way to measure seconds more precisely. And now, Jamie asked, now we use atomic clocks that measure the vibrations of atoms, which are incredibly consistent. 1 second is officially defined as the duration of 9,192, 631, 770 periods of radiation from a cesium-133 atom. Jamie laughed. That's a lot of numbers just for 1 second. Indeed. We've gone from watching shadows move across the ground to counting atomic vibrations, all to keep track of something we can't see or touch. A great-grandpa returned to the astronomical clock, which was still quietly demonstrating the Earth's movements. But despite all our precise measurements, our experience of time still depends on these basic movements of our planet, spinning on its axis and orbiting the sun. As they talked, Great-grandpa made adjustments to his astronomical clock. Suddenly, the mechanism made an unusual whirring sound, and the hands began to spin rapidly. That's odd. Great-grandpa muttered, reaching to stop it. But before he could touch it, a strange golden light began to emanate from the clock face. The light expanded, surrounding Jamie and his great-grandfather in a glowing sphere. What's happening? Jamie gasped. I'm not entirely sure. Great-grandpa replied, looking more curious than alarmed. This clock has always had unusual properties. The golden light intensified, and Jamie felt a curious sensation, as if he were both moving very fast and standing completely still at the same time. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the light faded. The workshop looked exactly the same, but something felt different. Look outside. Great-grandpa said quietly. Jamie went to the window and gasped. Instead of the winter afternoon, the world outside was bathed in the pink, orange glow of a summer sunrise. Birds were singing their morning songs, and dew glistened on much fuller, greener trees than had been there moments ago. Great-grandpa, what just happened? Did we travel in time? In a manner of speaking, the old man replied, examining the astronomical clock with newfound respect. I believe we've experienced a temporal shift. We're in the same place, but a different season. Buff, we've traveled to summer," Jamie exclaimed, throwing open the workshop door to feel the warm morning air. "But how is this possible?" "Great," Grandpa stroked his beard thoughtfully. "I've always suspected this clock was special. The man who asked me to restore it mentioned it was rumored to have unusual powers, but I thought he was just spinning tales." Can we go back, or go to different times?" Jamie asked excitedly. "We should proceed cautiously," Great-Grandpa warned, though his eyes betrayed his own excitement. "Let me examine the mechanism first." After careful inspection, he discovered that certain combinations of settings on the clock's various dials seemed to control their temporal destination. The main dial could be set to any date of the year, effectively allowing them to visit any season. "Let's try something," Great-Grandpa suggested, adjusting the dials. "Let's move just 6 hours forward in this summer day." Again, the clock emitted the golden light, and when it faded, the view outside showed a high summer sun at its zenith. "It worked," Jamie cheered. "We moved from sunrise to noon." Over the next hour, they made several small jumps forward and backward in time, watching a summer day progress from dawn to dusk, then reversing to see the sunrise again. They discovered they could only move within the natural cycle of seasons and days. The clock wouldn't take them years forward or backward, only to different points within the annual cycle of Earth's orbit and daily rotation. "This is better than any science lesson," Jamie marveled, watching a sunset rapidly transform back into midday as Great-Grandpa reversed the clock. "Indeed, and I think I understand what this clock is truly showing us," Great-Grandpa said. "It's not just telling time. It's demonstrating that time isn't as linear or simple as we pretend with our watches and clocks. Time is circular and cyclical, just like the Earth's movements." Jamie watched the miniature Earth on the clock continue its endless rotation and orbit. "You mean how days repeat and seasons come back around?" "Exactly. The ancient Greeks had 2 words for time: chronos, which is time as we usually think of it, sequential, measured in seconds and minutes, and kairos, which is more about the right moment, the season, the quality of time rather than its quantity. They made one final adjustment, setting the clock back to the winter afternoon when their adventure had begun. The golden light enveloped them once more, and they returned to the exact moment they had left. "This will be our secret," Great-Grandpa whispered with a wink. "But come visit anytime you have questions about time. We can observe rather than travel. It's safer that way." On the way home, Jamie thought about everything he had learned and experienced. He understood now why the sun rose at different times throughout the year, why his grandmother in Australia experienced tomorrow while he was still in today, and how the circular movements of the Earth created the rhythm of days and seasons. That night, as he lay in bed listening to his regular alarm clock ticking, Jamie reflected on how time was both simpler and more complex than he had realized. Simple because it followed the natural patterns of our planet's movements. Complex because humans had created so many ways to measure, divide, and think about those movements. He closed his eyes, feeling connected to the turning Earth beneath him, spinning him from day to night and back again, carrying him through the seasons in an endless cosmic dance that had been happening long before people invented clocks and would continue long after. Time wasn't just numbers on a clock face, Jamie realized. Time was the relationship between the Earth and the sun, between darkness and light, between winter and summer. And in that sense, Everyone on the planet was a time traveler, journeying together through space at 1,000 miles an hour, circling the sun in an endless voyage that had been going on for billions of years. With that comforting thought, Jamie drifted off to sleep, perfectly content to travel through time the slow, natural way, at least until his next visit to Great-Grandpa's workshop. SETI, Time Learning Activities 1. Make a simple sundial and track shadow movements throughout the day. 2. Create a model of the Earth Sun system to demonstrate how Earth's tilt causes seasons. 3. Use a globe and flashlight to show how rotation creates day and night. 4. Track sunrise and sunset times for a month to observe changing daylight hours. 5. Make a calendar showing how different cultures throughout history have measured and divided time.